Have you ever caught yourself staring just a little too long at someone across a crowded room? Not because of what they did, not because of anything obvious, but simply because something about them seemed to pull at you. Maybe it was the way their smile lingered, the sound of their laughter, or something harder to put into words, an invisible gravity you couldn't ignore. Attraction is one of the oldest puzzles of human life. It's the spark that can set a story in motion, the beginning of friendships, romances, and bonds that shape entire lifetimes. Yet for something so universal, it often feels like a mystery we don't fully understand. Why do we feel drawn to one person and not another? Why does one face stand out in a crowd, while another fades into the background? You've probably heard people say things like, love is chemistry, or it's just about looks, or maybe even it's fate. But the truth is far more layered, more intricate, woven from threads of psychology, biology, and experience. Attraction isn't just about beauty or chance. It's about how our minds interpret closeness, how our hearts respond to kindness, how our values resonate with another's, and how the smallest signals, sometimes unnoticed, can decide who feels like a stranger and who feels like home. Think of it like this: every moment you spend with another person is shaping a silent story. The words exchanged, the glances shared, the laughter, the warmth, it all stacks up. And the human brain, which has been fine-tuned for millions of years to seek connection and survival, is constantly writing and rewriting this story. Attraction is the feeling that something in this story is worth turning into a chapter, and sometimes into a book. Let's step back for a moment, way back. Imagine the ancient world. Before skyscrapers and smartphones, before dating apps and coffee shop encounters, humans lived in small tribes. Life wasn't about finding someone who liked your favorite music or matched your sense of humor. It was about survival. Attraction, even then, wasn't just romance. It was about finding a partner who could carry you through the harshness of life. Someone who could provide, protect, or nurture. Someone who signaled health, fertility, and strength. Someone who, quite literally, could help keep the fire burning. And yet even then, it wasn't only about survival. Humans craved connection, laughter, stories told by the fire, the comfort of knowing someone saw them, not just as another hunter, another gatherer, but as them. That ancient need still lives inside us. Attraction today still whispers with those primal instincts, even if we now dress them in modern clothing. But here's the thing most people don't realize: attraction often begins not with beauty, not with words, but with something far simpler: proximity. Who you happen to be around, the people who share your space, your routines, your everyday life. Think about your closest friendships or your first crush. Chances are they weren't strangers from distant lands. They were classmates, co-workers, neighbors, people whose paths crossed yours not once, but again and again. The brain is wired to notice familiarity. Each repeated encounter makes someone feel less like a stranger and more like part of your world. Psychologists call this the mere exposure effect. The more we see someone, the more we tend to like them. It's not magic, it's psychology. That face in the crowd becomes a familiar pattern. That voice becomes part of the background music of your life. And before long, what was once just another person begins to feel significant. It's like walking into a cafe for the first time. The smell is new, the face is unfamiliar, the sounds uncertain. But after the 5th, the 10th, the 20th visit, the cafe becomes comforting. It feels like yours. People are the same. Familiarity breeds comfort, and comfort is the soil where attraction grows. But of course, proximity alone isn't enough. You may pass by hundreds of people every day, on the street, in hallways, on screens, yet only a few catch your attention. Why them? Why now? The answer lies in the quiet dance between familiarity and similarity. Because once someone enters your world, your mind starts searching for patterns, signs that they think like you, laugh at what you laugh at, share the same values. Humans are wired to seek safety in similarity. When someone mirrors your beliefs, when their outlook resonates with yours, it feels less like meeting a stranger and more like recognizing a reflection. Think about it: when you discover someone shares your taste in music or your quirky sense of humor, doesn't it spark something? That rush of recognition isn't just coincidence. It's the brain signaling, this person could belong to my tribe. In a world that can often feel unpredictable, finding someone who shares your worldview is like finding an anchor. But attraction doesn't only live in the safe and the familiar. It also thrives in reciprocity, in knowing that the feelings are mutual. Imagine smiling at someone across the room and they smile back. That momentary exchange carries a powerful psychological weight. Our brains are constantly scanning for acceptance and rejection, for signs of belonging. When someone shows us they like us, our natural response is to like them back. It's not weakness, it's wiring. The human heart beats faster when it hears an echo. And yet beneath all of this, beneath the familiarity, the similarity, the mutuality, there remains the undeniable influence of the physical. Faces, bodies, gestures, the way someone carries themselves, the warmth in their eyes, the health reflected in their skin. We may like to believe attraction is purely about personality, but evolution had its say long before psychology ever took notes. Across cultures and centuries, humans have consistently been drawn to markers of health, fertility, and vitality. It's not superficial, it's survival disguised as beauty. Still, here's the secret. Physical attraction may open the door, but it rarely keeps it open. Looks may spark attention, but it's the deeper threads, shared experiences, laughter, kindness, emotional safety, that weave true connection. The real gravity of attraction isn't in a glance. It's in the way someone makes you feel seen, valued, understood. So as we dive deeper into this journey, remember this: attraction is never just one thing. It is proximity and familiarity. It is similarity and shared values. It is reciprocity and the glow of being liked. It is the primal pull of health and fertility and the modern warmth of shared interests and personality. It is reinforcement, comfort, and the small sparks of joy that tell us, this is someone I want to keep close. Attraction is a mosaic. Each piece by itself may seem small, even ordinary. But together, they create the picture of why you lean toward one person and not another. And this picture, this mosaic, is what we're about to explore in all its depth. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself standing not in the modern world, but thousands of years ago. There are no glowing screens, no bustling cities, no endless crowds, just a vast wilderness. Life is raw, uncertain, and fragile. Every day is about survival. Food, safety, warmth. These are not conveniences, they are battles. In that world, attraction wasn't a matter of swiping left or right. It was instinct, a silent compass pointing you toward people who could increase your chances of staying alive, of raising healthy children, of carrying your tribe into the next season. Attraction wasn't romance, it was strategy. And the strategies that worked then still hum quietly beneath the surface of our modern desires today. Think about it. Why are we drawn to clear skin, bright eyes, symmetrical faces, or certain body proportions? To us, these might look like beauty standards shaped by culture, but their roots run much deeper. In the language of evolution, these traits whisper a simple message: health. Clear skin suggests the absence of disease. Bright eyes reflect vitality. Symmetry hints at genetic stability. Body proportions, in many cases, signal fertility or strength. Of course, no one standing in the Stone Age was thinking, I'll choose this partner because they display genetic fitness. It wasn't conscious. It was felt, an instinctive pull toward qualities that improved the odds of survival and reproduction. And though today we no longer live in caves or hunt for survival, the echoes of those instincts still guide our preferences. But attraction wasn't only about the physical. In ancient tribes, survival also depended on cooperation. Imagine a hunter who was strong but selfish, who hoarded food or abandoned others in danger. That person may have been physically appealing, but they weren't a reliable partner. Humans learned quickly to seek not just beauty, but trustworthiness, loyalty, and kindness. Because in the wild, a warm heart could be just as important as strong arms. This is why even now, kindness is universally attractive. When someone shows generosity, when they share without keeping score, when they protect rather than exploit, our instincts recognize it. These qualities signal a partner who won't just survive, but who will help others survive too. And then there's another ancient truth: storytelling. Long before books or screens, humans gathered around fires, passing time with tales of hunts, of spirits, of dreams. Words were survival tools, spreading knowledge, binding communities, sparking imagination. Even then, those who could tell stories, those who could make others laugh, those who could bring calm with their voice, carried a special kind of magnetism. Attraction, you see, has always been more than physical. It has always been about how someone makes us feel. Now think of the way attraction feels in your own life. That sense of safety when someone listens deeply, the way laughter breaks barriers and makes time disappear, These feelings are not accidents, they are inheritances passed down from ancestors who knew that connection was survival. But evolution didn't just shape who we find attractive, it also shaped the patterns of how we fall for them. Consider this, in most societies throughout history, humans lived in small groups. That meant the pool of potential partners was tiny compared to today's sprawling cities or online networks. This scarcity made proximity, simply being around each other, a critical factor. The more time you spent near someone, the greater the chance of bonding. That's why our brains evolved to find familiarity comforting, to turn repeated encounters into seeds of attraction. And this carries into the present. You might think falling for someone is about destiny, but often it's logistics. Who shares your spaces, who crosses your path often enough that they begin to feel like part of your world. Attraction begins in the everyday, the classroom seat beside you, the neighbor you see walking their dog, the co-worker at the coffee machine. Just as in the ancient world, proximity still writes the first lines of our stories. But here's something fascinating. Even though evolution hardwired us with these instincts, humans didn't stop there. Unlike many species that follow rigid mating patterns, humans built culture. We added layers, rituals, songs, art, rules, taboos. Attraction became not just a biological response, but a cultural narrative. Love poems, wedding rituals, jewelry, perfumes. These are all human inventions layered onto the primal drive for connection. And yet, if you strip away the costumes of culture, you'll find the same roots: health, fertility, reliability, kindness, familiarity. These are constants, repeated across time and continents, even when the details change. Here's an example. In ancient Egypt, beauty was tied to cleanliness and fragrance. Oils, perfumes, and bathing were signs of health and wealth. In Japan's Heian period, aristocrats prized long, dark hair and delicate features. In many African societies, fuller body shapes were symbols of fertility and prosperity. The details differ, but the theme is the same. People looked for signals of health, vitality, and the ability to thrive. But remember this, attraction has always been a balancing act. We're not only pulled toward health or beauty, we're pulled toward belonging. A partner who might not have been the strongest could still be the most desirable if they were loyal, generous, or well-liked in the tribe. Because in the end, survival was never about the lone individual, it was about the group. And those who could form strong, trusting bonds were the ones who endured. Fast forward to today, and these ancient patterns still whisper in every glance, every crush, every romance. We still notice health and vitality. We still respond to kindness. We still lean toward people who feel familiar, who share our values, who reciprocate our interest. The ancient roots remain, but they bloom in modern soil. So the next time you feel that spark, that sudden sense that someone is different, special, magnetic, remember, it's not just the moment. It's millions of years of survival instincts, cultural layering, and psychological wiring coming together in a single heartbeat. Attraction is not random. It is the story of humanity written into your very bones. And as we move forward, we'll see how those primal roots evolve into the subtler forces of today. Forces like proximity, familiarity, and similarity, the invisible threads that quietly draw us closer to certain people, often without us realizing it.